Hello, everybody watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 9 of Season 10 NNSCRA Walmart Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, a.k.a. ThrashManiac99, the voice of NNSCRA Walmart Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Aaron's 499 here at Talladega Superspeedway, where this time we're going to a different Talladega. It looks similar to the 2006 version, but it's actually the 2007 revamped. So we're going to see how the racing is here in comparison to '06. But joining me for co-commentary, please welcome a guy we haven't heard from in the community for quite a while, and now he's back, Chris Washer. How you doing, Chris? Or should I
I'm
say,
doing.
or should I say dishwasher?
Yep, the old nickname never fails to come back, but it feels very good and it feels to commentate something. And at Talladega, out of all the places, should be a very fun, exciting race. Expect the record to like normal, and maybe a photo finish at the end.
Perhaps. But with that being said, let's take a look at how the top 10 in the points look coming into the race today. Pichu London still leads the points over Chase Oliver. Third is Michael Norman. Fourth, Austin Mongold. Fifth, Dylan Young. Sixth is Zach Rogers. Seventh, Matt McIntyre. Eighth, Jesse Setti. Ninth, Carson Gum. And 10th, Chris Washer. Now, we are getting to the point now where we do need to keep an eye out on the top 20 because of people who have wins. Right now, it would be David Rivera, Steven Guerrero, Matt Skoenberger, Charles Sanford, Preston Plord, James McLeod, Tim Walsh, DJ Curtis, Tanner Sullivan, and Dylan Thoreau, rounding out your top 20 in the points. But it's still a long ways to go, and we're only at race 9, so anything can happen between here and Richmond right before the chase starts. But anyways, you were gonna say, Chris?
I was gonna say, you never know what's gonna happen until the very last race of the chase cutoff and the season overall, because we see in NASCAR and multiple real life racing series, and some guy could have a problem just like that, he loses the championship. So it's a very gotta keep a very keen eye on definitely the top 5, top 20 for sure, since we're coming down to the chase cutoff. So expect a lot more. Expect a little drama before the chase cutoff and the overall championship.
Indeed. So let's take a look at the lineup. Starting in the last row will be Jessica Sheldon and James McLeod, but the top 10, James Qualls is on the pole for the first time this season. Starting next to him is the plate race master of Walmart Cup Series, Michael Norman. Excuse me. Row 2 is Matt Skoenberger and Anthony McCrory. Row 3, David Rivera and DJ Curtis. Row 4, Tanner Sullivan and Trent Dunham. And then row 5, Nathan Hudson and Nick Alton. So that is a look at the lineup. Now, predictions. Who would you say would be your top 3 picks for the win today?
My top 3, I'm gonna go with Anthony McCurry, Michael Norman, and Dylan Poteet.
I think out of all those, I'm going to go with one of them, Michael Norman. For my other two, I'm going to go with Connor Morgan because despite in his first ever start finishing near dead last, ever since he's made races, he's been on a roll and nearly won last week at Nashville. So he's got a fire under his belly, and he just got into the top 30 in points to get locked in this week. And then for my third pick, I'm going Charles Sanford because he won the Daytona 500 and in fact won at California the week after. And he's been on a bit of a slump as of late, and he's definitely looking to get his third win of the season, and what a way to do it than at Talladega. But with that being said, let's get the command to fire engines for the Aaron's 499 at Talladega.
Drivers, start your engines.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. As we wait for the cars to go around for their one pace lap. And there you see the cars rolling out to get this race started. So James Qualls, so far this season, currently is 23rd in the points and only missed one race, and that was the Daytona 500. 3 top 10 finishes, but in recent weeks he's been kind of having a bit of a slump himself. Maybe this will be a good week for him to rebound and get himself back in the top 20 in points. And I know...
Yeah, since...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go
Okay. I was going to say that since James Qualls have been running so good, he thought the pressure's already off him. So he decided, run some races, not as hard as he should have been. And that's what's happening to actually in real life, too. The NASCAR Sprint Cup teams are kind of doing that as well. But James Qualls, if he wants to at least secure his chance into this chase, he'll basically just win today and he'll be fine.
Yeah, considering the chase format for this series is top 10 in points and 2 wild cards and an LCQ winner. And I just noticed they had a bit of a hiccup right there on the bunching there. Hopefully that doesn't impact the packs like it happened back at Tennessee Superspeedway, and I don't think it's going to. It looks like everybody's going to be back up here in time. Because I've noticed that in the last couple weeks, there's been some bunching problems with the starts and restarts. But it doesn't look like it's going to be too big of a problem this week, as here we go. Boogity, 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 let's go racing.
And take a look at that. They're already going almost 3 wide. It's not even turn 1 yet. Oh, take a look. This is just a huge clump of cars. They're going, of course, 3 wide. I'm not surprised. Oh, someone's on the apron. I believe that was a Pepsi car, but that was... Wow. He could have caused a wreck right there. See James Qualls just running away with it so far, but the 60 oh, there's a wreck!
Caution is going to come out, but it didn't look like a... Oh, and a bit of a hit right there with Jessica Sheldon, Marco Martinez, and Steven Guerrero. Zach Rogers got a piece of it. Chase Oliver, second in points, was involved. A little piece of damage on James McLeod's machine, but other than that, it was just a multi-car incident. Not really the big one, but now these guys got to be careful when it comes to lining up for the caution.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and somebody just got spun. What in the world is going on now? What in the world just happened?
Everybody's clumping up. There's 2 cars colliding with each other.
My goodness. That's one of the things you hate to see happen on a restrictor plate track is when they can't slow down enough and they run into each other for no reason. Now Austin LaPlante's got big damage. So many cars got big time damage, so who knows who's going to be able to contend for the win now at this point.
That's going to be about who has the least amount of damage, I think, Levi.
Pretty much, so... While the cars are driving under pacing speed, let's go ahead and take a look at the replay of what brought the caution out for the first time today here at Talladega. Well, here's a look at what happened. They were running 4 wide in the back, and they could have given each other enough room to make it work, but right here, you're going to see Jessica Sheldon come up into Zach Rogers, into Marco Martinez, Chase Oliver, and Steven Guerrero, and I thought McLeod was involved, but it turns out he wasn't. And then all the cars just go spinning, or they kept it straight. Like Zach Rogers, I think, just got a couple of dents on the doors, but I think he's still going to be okay. And then right here, Marco Martinez with a hit into the right side of Steven Guerrero's machine. That put the 78's car out of the race. The 78 car out of the race. But now we're going to try and determine where in the world this problem happened with pacing whenever they were in the middle of the corners. I mean, they were going 4 wide, but oh, it was up ahead.
Yeah. Oh,
Connor Morgan.
Yeah, some guy turned someone on the apron.
And then you had another incident like that, too. It was Connor... Wait a minute, No, Nathan Hudson came down in front of Connor Morgan right there, and that sent that car spinning. And then right there, that golden car Can't tell who that is. I think that was Carson Gum. Yeah, Carson Gum ends up getting turned by JT Bryant, and then once those cars are around, more cars get involved. There you see John Cittadino, Austin LaPlante, Dylan Young, and then they just start running into each other. Johnny Gardner goes spinning, then McLeod gets damaged from this incident. And you hate to see that at a restrictor plate track, they wreck under caution for no reason whatsoever, so... But a majority of the field's still up to speed and still clean on the damage, so let's, with that said, let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Talladega. Well, after that first caution, only 4 cars were out of the race as a result of all the chaos that ensued. Nathan Hudson, Dylan Young, Austin LaPlante, and Marco Martinez. 38 cars still on track, but there's going to be quite a few of them that are going to be slow as a result of that bunching incident. But James Qualls is your leader, second is Matt Skoenberger, third is David Rivera, fourth Trent Dunham, fifth Michael Norman, sixth is Anthony McCreary, seventh Sean Galligan, 8th DJ Curtis, 9th Connor Morgan, 10th Tanner Sullivan, 11th Carson Gum, 12th Nick Alton, 13th JT Bryant, 14th Matthew Dalio, 15th Jesse Setti, 16th is Matt McIntyre, 17th John Cittadino, 18th Jake Baskinger, 19th Austin Mongold, 20th Preston Plord. 21st is Dylan Thoreau, 22nd Tim Walsh, 23rd Dorian Facepuncher, 24th James McLeod, 25th John Arndt, 26th Seth Cole, 27th Chris Washer, 28th Dylan Thoreau, 29th Kyle Matthews, 30th Benjamin Miles. And again, it looks like they're having that problem of not getting up to the cars in time. It could be as a result of me changing the pace speed, I maybe, but green flag is back out here at Talladega. But yeah, I have noticed that. Like, they can't seem to get up to the cars in time the last couple weeks. And yes, I did change pace speed INIs just so that way, especially for Tennessee Superspeedway, because before they would take a long time to pace one lap around. But I don't know what could be the problem. But a majority of the cars are still running up here in the pack, and we're back underway. And now here comes Matt Skoenberger. Oh, he couldn't make that run work, but he's still there to the 70.
A much calmer start than we saw at the actual start of the race. Things are going single file at the front here, and see little miniature battles forming up.
Oh, pit stops.
Going up pit road.
Baskinger on pit road, and keep in mind, pit stops are definitely going to be a big factor for this race, so that could be pit strategy in case they go into a green flag run. And James Qualls still leads.
Or that could be either he has damage, or B, he is saving up so that when everybody else pits, he has enough fuel to make it till the end. So it's a very risky strategy. I don't know how well that would work. The only way that would work if everything is green till the end of the race. So Jake Baskinger has to rely on these guys playing it very, very safe and clean for a strategy to work. And for Talladega, I'm pretty sure that's not strategy to make, but as we see a great battle up front, we've seen it single file for the past few laps. Now it's going into 3 wide, even 4 wide some places.
Yeah, and now Dylan Thoreau goes in the pit road. Yeah, I'm thinking it is pretty much pit strategy going on. Matt Skoenberger leads the way, but here comes David Rivera with a run. David Rivera is trying to get off to a better start to the season. After all, he comes into this race 11th in points, and he's been starting to get some momentum going his way. Maybe that momentum can continue as he's got Sean Galligan in the 44 Pepsi Next Dodge Charger behind him. And also, I forgot to note that with the new Dodge Chargers, they got the cool new hood scoops on the hood, so that way it gives it a more muscle car look and feel to it.
I did notice that. That's a pretty cool way to introduce a manufacturer into the series. And
well, then again, Dodge. Whoa, and there they go!
Oh no!
The big one. Or actually, it turned into a multi-car. Oh, now it's going to be a big one.
No.
Hard hits given. More hard hits. Holy cow, McLeod got slammed.
God.
Washer involved, Seth Cole involved.
Basically, everybody coming up from the back is getting slammed, but at least looks like the actual back of the field is actually smart and slowing down.
Holy cow, there were some hard hits given. Trent Dunham was involved. As I'm trying to look around for anybody else, James Qualls got involved, the pole sitter. Oh, Preston Plord was in it. Cittadino was in it, and there you saw Washer and McLeod, who took the big hits in that wreck, or gave the big hits. Connor Morgan was in it. Matthew Dalio was involved. John Arndt was involved. Maybe Benjamin Miles, or unless that was damage from the pile-up at the beginning. There's hardly going to be anybody left at this point, but Matt Skoenberger is your leader, so let's go ahead and take a look and see what brought the caution out for the second time today here at Talladega. Well, this wreck pretty much happened like any real-time NASCAR wreck. Right there, James Qualls gets into the left rear of David Rivera into the corner, and you can't be doing that on plate tracks because it's all driver's judgment to try and lay off that left side, but they somehow find a way to do it. And that ends up taking out so many good cars, people who were wanting to get good finishes. But unfortunately, they're all going to have days cut short. And right there was the big hit from Chris Washer into James McLeod. And then Washer is going to get a hit right there into the right or in the left front by Preston Plord. That ends up spinning him around sort of like a top. But let's take a look at it one more time as to how the wreck began. Right up ahead with Qualls and Rivera running in the middle. And right there, Qualls just gets him into that left rear. And ends up taking out himself, Rivera, Morgan, Seth Cole, Trent Dunham, Matthew Dalio. And then there you see when McLeod gets involved. And then Cittadino's going to give a big hit right into the back of Rivera. That had to knock him silly. And then Washer gets in there. Nick Alton gets in there. So many good cars end up getting involved out of nowhere. But with that said, let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Talladega. Well, we are down to 28 cars in the field. All the cars that end up retired out of the race after that last caution were David Rivera, Connor Morgan, Matthew Dalio, Nick Alton, Trent Dunham, James McLeod, John Cittadino, Chris Washer, Seth Cole, and Preston Plord as they join Nathan Hudson, Dylan Young, Austin LaPlante, and Marco Martinez. Turns out that strategy of Jake Baskinger pitting early was working, so he's going to be your new leader. Second is Sean Galligan. Third is Michael Norman. Fourth, Tim Walsh. Fifth is J.T. Bryant. Sixth is Matt Skoenberger. Seventh, Dorian Facepuncher. Eighth is Carson Gum. Ninth, Jesse Setti. 10th, Austin Mongold. 11th is Tanner Sullivan. 12th is Joshua Collard. 13th is Anthony McCrory, 14th Kyle Matthews, 15th Dylan Poteet, 16th Benjamin Miles, 17th Chase Oliver, 18th DJ Curtis, 19th actually no, there's a car up here a lap down somewhere. I don't see him. But there's a car up here apparently a lap down, or I might have just skipped over somebody. But anyways, 19th Zach Rogers, 20th is Pichu London. 21st, Jessica Sheldon. 22nd, Dylan Thoreau. 23rd is Johnny Gardner. 24th, Steven Guerrero. 25th, Charles Sanford. 26th, Matt McIntyre. 27th, James Qualls. And then 28th is John Arndt. And again, more of those getting up to the cars in time issues are happening. But now the green flag is back out and Baskinger leads. And Jake Baskinger trying to go for his second win this season. He won back at, if I recall, it was Martinsville, I think, that he won back in the 5th race of the season. And actually dominated that race too. And he's trying to go for win number 2.
And would that be just a great feeling if he could just get that win number 2? That means he'll be basically maybe locked in the chase. It depends on where he is in the points after the event. But I mean, that team would be just ecstatic if they could just get that second win.
Yeah, well, the unfortunate thing for Baskinger is that he is outside of the top 30 and he'd have to keep qualifying his way in. But if he can keep making races and finish well, he could find himself in the top 30 and carry the bonus points from that win at Martinsville over to the chase if he were to make it. But like I said, it's still a long ways to go, and now the racing's getting really crazy up here at the front. Baskinger leads, and it's 3 wide for second. Mongold, Gum, and Walsh. And a couple cars that have slight damage to the front end are still holding up in the pack very well. Peachy London and Kyle Matthews still running pretty much up to speed, so that's a surprise.
Yeah, that really surprised me, but I think it's the equalizer here. Even if you have some sort of damage, if it doesn't affect the aerodynamics of the car, you still have a shot to win this. And as we come past the halfway mark right here, as the number 32
13 or 14 to go, and the 32 leads, yes.
And he's just pulling away right now. But of course, on super speedway racing, if you pull away, you're normally gonna get pushed right back into the pack. And ooh, lap traffic here, Levi. That could shake some things up. He could hold the leader up, and that could make a horrendous, how should I say, situation for the front pack here.
Well, I mean, he's not brutally damaged, but Zach Rogers, I think he went on the pit road for more strategy, perhaps, in case they weren't able to make it on gas the rest of the way. But who knows? But it appears that Zach Rogers has now got all the damage he had from incidents earlier repaired and back up to speed. So he would have to hope for a caution to come out in order to get back up here in the pack. 3 wide for the lead as here comes Michael Norman. Don't count him out, the play race master of this series.
And he was actually on both of our picks, but of course that lap traffic, it's still in the distance. It's like a horror movie.
But then again, like I said, he is up to speed, so he'll just blend in with the pack and it won't be too big of a problem. So he could actually help somebody. Whoa, Jessie Setti about got turned and she saved it. Holy cow. And actually, that helped her make a move for the lead as here she comes. And she won back at Las Vegas earlier this season, and she's trying to go for win number 2. And she is top 10 in the points, and here she comes.
Yeah, top 10 in the points, so she doesn't have a lot of stress on her. She could just finish second, and that'll be good enough. But a win, of course, would basically just lock her in. But that lap traffic, that number 9 of Zach Rogers, is still out there. I salute the team for that, trying to get the biggest amount of points they're going to be possible, but I don't know how he can possibly move out of the way unless he just goes on the wall.
Well, let's keep an eye on his miles per hour rating, and it's starting to go up, so yeah, it appears he's up to speed. He's just now going to blend in with everybody.
He blocks the middle line!
He blocks Tim Walsh. But luckily for him, Rogers is up to speed, so he can work with him in order to get some help to get up to the front.
Actually, they're just going to split them, looks like. Oh, now Rogers is blocking the bottom lane.
And Rogers is now officially blended in with the pack, but a lap down. Norman leads, but now here comes Anthony McCrory with a run underneath for the second position, underneath of the 22. But can he make it work? No, it looks like the high lane actually prevailed that time.
And it looks like Michael Norman is in the lead. In fact, yes, he is. He's going to lead lap number 19. Dude, that means we have 10 more laps to go when they cross the line.
Yep, 10 to go here in the Aaron's 499. In what has been a wacky race. And it's 3 wide for the third spot, with Carson Gum getting help from Tweenix teammates Dylan Poteet and Tim Walsh. Look at that, Tweenix all working well together up here.
And from what it looks like, it's looking to be a Michael Norman 22 show, but take a look at this huge pack. They're just pouncing on them, and it doesn't look good for that top two, because it looks like they could get devoured.
Right? And pretty much everybody on back to Pichu London are all within the pack, though Collard and London are kind of losing the draft, but they're still within distance of one another, so they're not completely out of the pack. So it's still a huge pack. It's a 20-car pack here up at the front of the field. And now Carson Gum now to the back bumper of the 22 of Jesse Setti. And they might end up catching the slower machine of Steven Guerrero, who is off the pace after multiple incidents. So that's going to cause
they're gonna
some
catch
issues.
him. Because coming to the line will be 8 more laps to go, and they're only about a quarter of a track in front of them. So that means they'll probably will catch him by race's end. And if that happens, that means, wait a minute, Levi, here's something that we almost forgot to talk. Well, actually, that caution. So no pit stops. Everybody's good on fuel. So it's just about your car's strength and what you can do with the car.
Pretty much, yes. And now they are closing in on the 8 car. Who's he going to hold up? Oh, he kind of held up Michael Norman a little bit. Now he's going to hold up, looks like Austin Mongold and JT Bryan, pretty much the middle and low lanes. Now the low lane as a whole. So now the high lane's going to prevail as far as getting spots now as a result of the 8 being in the way.
That helps that top 3. The 320.
And Baskinger's in pit road, so that might be a sign that they may not make it now.
But Baskinger also pitted earlier.
Yeah, he pitted around lap 9 or 10, and the leaders came and pitted a little bit afterwards. So that is a sign that they may have to pit one more time before the race is over, so that's really going to make things interesting, depending on when they start pitting. What if they all start pitting around 3 to go, then it's going to be all about who can stretch it out.
I mean, it's just so confusing, because in my mind, I don't think they're going to pit, because I think they all pitted during that last caution, but if they can't make it on fuel somehow, I mean, what if Jake Baskinger, like I said earlier, is just doing strategy? Right now, it's not looking like a very good strategy, but if it does come his way, I mean, it's just going to be confusing.
Yeah, but more weird things have happened in the past here in this series, so it wouldn't be a big surprise. And as a result of them getting to the 8 car and a couple cars coming in the pit road, it separated that pack big time. As a result, so now most of the pack is now just all over the place as a result. So it looks like it's mostly going to come down to one of these 3, Norman, Gum, or Setti, unless pit strategy really does come into play here in the next few laps, as it's 5 to go here at Talladega.
I do not think they're going to come down to pit strategy. I think it's going to be an all-out battle between these 3 cars here, number 32 and 22, and it could come down to the lap cars. We're seeing another lap car, and I believe that's Baskinger. Yep,
Yes,
it is.
but he's gotten himself right back up to speed, so
That's even worse, Levi, because if they catch up to him, he'll be right up to speed. And if they block him, they have no way of getting around him.
well, we shall see what happens, as we are coming now to 4 laps to go, and I am still wondering if they're going to make it on gas or not, because of how the pit frequency seems to be set to. Because, like, Baskinger pitted on lap 10, then he had to come and pit on lap 22, I believe. And the leaders, when the caution came out, they pitted only a couple laps later. So, who knows what can happen, as now Baskinger is up here with the leaders, running up there. And now he's going to get a push from Jesse Setti, so that could maybe...
22.
But
Could Bass? No, he's actually up the pace. But guess what? The 22 needs to pass the 52 or the 54 if you want to catch up to 3 of Michael Norman. Oh my God, this race just throwing everything at you.
and I'm looking out for anybody making pit stops, and so far nothing's happened quite yet. Who knows? But Norman now has the lap car of Jake Baskinger between himself and second and third place. But they're looking like they might catch 3 more lap cars before the race. Benjamin Miles, James Qualls, John Arndt, so that would really make things interesting. Because you're going to have 3 slow machines in front of you, and that could bring these guys in this small pack right up to them. With Poteet, Shelton, Walsh, Mongold. Oh, but they're pitting! Norman pitted! I kind of figured this was going to happen. Now Jesse said he is the leader. Now, is she going to try and stretch it the rest of the way, or does she have to come and pit before the race is over?
Levi, you're a wizard. You said they're going to pit around 3 laps ago. Guess what time they pitted? 3 laps ago. It's now 2 laps ago. The 22 is out in the lead with a huge margin. It's no reason why she should go and pit if she can stretch it out with that gap. I mean, the 22 literally has this race under her hands. All she has to do is just save the amount of fuel that she needs to, because she has that gap that allows her to.
Yeah. But we're going to stay here with the 22 and see what she's going to do. She's going to try and stay out 1 more lap. What about the rest of the top 5? They're going to stay out. Same with Face Puncher and Sullivan. What about Gardner, Rogers, and Skoenberger? They're going to stay out. As the white flag is being displayed for the 22.
Baskinger is her little bump drafting buddy. That's helping her cool the engine. And look at that lap traffic at the very last lap.
Yeah, with everybody all in front of her, so it depends on what happens here. If Seti does have enough gas to make it to the end, we've seen it before where they had to come and pit on the last lap here at Talladega, so it wouldn't surprise me. But she's going to stay out. She is going to go for it. Can she make it? I think she's going to. As we're in the tri-oval, coming to the checkered flag. 2nd win this season. Jessie Seti wins the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. She won at Vegas earlier this year in honor of her passed away boyfriend and my brother, Rue McIntyre. Now she gets her 2nd win this season here at Talladega. She is definitely going to try to do her best to win a championship for the memory of Rue McIntyre, and what a good way that would be for her. But congrats to the 22 in what is probably going to be an emotional victory.
And just another thing, it just adds that more security to her chase spot. So very emotional. Glad that 22 team won here today at Talladega.
And she joins Charles Sanford as being the only drivers this season to win 2 times. But let's look at the rest of the results, shall we? Tim Walsh comes away with a solid performance in the 2nd position. DJ Curtis came out of nowhere and came out with a 3rd place run. Jessica Sheldon, great run in 4th. That could help her get into the top 30 again. And Dorian Facepuncher, who has been having a big-time struggle this season, comes away 5th. Great run for him. Tanner Sullivan with a solid finish in 6th. Solid run for Johnny Gardner in 7th. Highest finishing rookie of the race, Matt Skoenberger, in the 8th position. Charles Sanford, despite getting damaged earlier, he comes away with a 9th place run. And great run for Michael Norman, despite he had to pit at the end and he could have won the race. But he's still going to get a good points day out of this. And the rest of the lead lap cars that finished were Austin Mongold, JT Bryant, Carson Gum, Jake Baskinger, Anthony McCrory, Dylan Poteet, and Benjamin Miles. Everybody else who finished the race were a lap or more down. Dylan Thoreau, Sean Galligan, Kyle Matthews, Joshua Collard, Pichu London, Zach Rogers, Matt McIntyre, Chase Oliver, John Arndt, James Qualls, and Steven Guerrero. Everybody else was out of the race after the 2 wrecks we had. David Rivera, Connor Morgan, Matthew Dalio, Nick Alton, Trent Dunham, James McLeod, John Cittadino, Chris Washer, Seth Cole, Preston Plord, Nathan Hudson, Dylan Young, Austin LaPlante, and Marco Martinez. But what a Aaron's 499 we had here today, and what a way to get a victory for Jesse Setti than to stay out on fuel strategy, and holy cow. But thank you guys for watching the Aaron's 499, and thanks Chris Washer for stopping by the booth today.
Oh, no problem. It was a very fun race to be a part of. I'm glad to join you.
No problem. So, we only have 3 races left until All-Star break. Next week, we head to Richmond for the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Then we head to Kansas for the Hollywood Casino 400. And then Dover for the AAA 400. And then we get to All-Star break at Dragonette. So that's going to be exciting. But until we get to Richmond, here are your results. Rookie points and regular points heading into Richmond. And this is Levi McIntyre, signing off.